Welcome to Lesson 6.2, Early Warning Signs of Overload. In the last lesson, you built a personalized calm operating system, a framework for how you operate under pressure. But here's the next layer. Even the best systems get strained. And most executive breakdowns, burnout, conflict, poor decisions, don't come from one big moment. They come from signals that were missed. This lesson is about learning to recognize those signs early, before you lose control, before performance drops, and before your team really feels it. Overload rarely announces itself. It doesn't say, "Warning, you're about to crash." Instead, it shows up as slight irritability, one more skipped workout, faster meetings, shorter answers, or harder mornings. These are your early indicators. Leaders who last are the ones who listen early, not just recover late. Most leaders notice stress only when it becomes emotional, but in reality, overload shows up in three earlier places. The body, number one, tension, fatigue, and disrupted sleep. Or number two, behavior, rushing, feeling irritable, avoidance. Number three, thinking, loss of perspective, rigidity, poor prioritization. Now let's break these down so you can detect earlier, act faster, and protect your performance curve. Your nervous system will register stress before your mind catches it. Watch for these early physical signs. Your shoulders feeling tight or elevated during work, shallow breathing while typing or speaking, energy crashes in the afternoon, restless sleep or early waking, increased caffeine use without more output. These are not just normal parts of leadership. They're early overload alerts. When you catch the signals in the body, you can reset before it becomes emotional. Next, look at behavior. Most leaders can function under stress, but their habits start to shift. Watch for these: snapping at minor friction, avoiding important but non-urgent tasks, skipping recovery routines, faster speech, shorter answers, or increased multitasking or phone checking. These shifts are performance red flags, not because you failed, but because your system is compensating for rising load. One of the most reliable signs of overload is what happens to your thinking. You move from strategic to tactical, you default to reactivity, you lose nuance in decisions. You say things like, "just get it done," instead of thinking it through. You also stop asking good questions and start giving short answers. It's not about intelligence, it's about bandwidth. When stress rises, your cognitive aperture narrows. That's your cue to intervene. Every leader has a unique stress signal profile. Your job is to map yours. Use this simple prompt. When I'm starting to carry too much pressure, I usually... Example answers could be lose interest in long-term goals, check my phone obsessively, skip movement or hydration, withdraw from my peers, or get more reactive or passive. Write down 3 to 5 personal cues you know that will show up before you feel overwhelmed. These are your early system alerts. Once you've identified early signals, the next step is to build a response protocol. This protocol doesn't need to be complex. Examples: notice signal, like skipping recovery or feeling irritated. Pause for 90 seconds. Breathe and assess. Name the overload. What's your load coming from? Use a calm interrupt tool from Module 3 or 5 we discussed. Or adjust your workload or expectations, even slightly. The goal is not perfection. The goal is early correction. Cognitive load makes it hard to self-diagnose. That's why high performers use external tracking tools, not just mental awareness. Example signal trackers: the sleep quality on a scale from 1 to 5. Did I notice any physical tension? Yes or no? Reactive moments: how many? Missed recovery blocks? Again, count how many. Decision clarity: 1 is foggy and 5 is super sharp. Track just 1 or 2 per week. Patterns will emerge. and that will give you power. This is data-driven leadership regulation. What early signals do you often ignore? And what will you do when you notice them next? Reflect for 60 seconds. Which signals have you seen before but ignored? What's your default response to early overload? Push through, numb out, or react? What one action could interrupt that next time? This is not about weakness, it's about leadership engineering. You can't control every demand, but you can control how early you respond. You now know how to detect overload early through body signals, behavior shifts, and cognitive narrowing. In the next lesson, we apply these systems to one of the hardest leadership conditions, uncertainty and change. You'll learn how to stay grounded when direction isn't clear, the environment shifts, and stakes feel high. I'll see you in lesson 6.3.